Then let's learn about the factors, determinants for the shift of the demand curve. To start with, if the demand increases, then the curve shifts right. This is same in the supply too. If if there is decrease in demand, the curve will shift to left. But if we don't have any information, then we say it indeterminate situation. And the first factor is substitute goods. Substitute goods means the two goods that can be replaced with each other. For example, there are orange and apple, Coke and Sprite, and coffee and black tea. If the price of A rises, then the quantity demanded to A also decreases. But because A and B can be replaced with each other, then consumers will reduce buying A but increase buying B instead of A. So the substitute goods can affect the demand. Second is the complementary goods. When the price of A increases, then complementary goods are the goods that are usually bought together to maximize utilities. Then, in this situation, the demand of A will decrease and the demand of B will also decrease because A and B is very related with each other. Therefore, you have to know about the difference between substitute goods and complementary goods. Second, preference is also one of the factors that influences the demand. For example, the news and new discoveries or like public tastes can change favorableness to certain product and it will change the demand. Fourth one is population and fifth one is income. Like this has some similarities that increase in population and income will lead to greater demand because both population and income is one of the one of the basic factors in economics and like there are more people to buy and there are money budgets to purchase, so therefore demand increases. And future expectation is important and you should not be confused on that point. If the price is expected to soar in the near future, then consumers will increase the current demand because the price will increase in near future. But if the news says that the price will decline in near future, then consumers will not buy currently and therefore the demand decreases. And now we will move on to the law of supply. Supply means the firm's desire to sell at certain price, like the demand. Supply means, so imagine you are a CEO of a firm producing chicken. You may sell a delicious chicken at $50, $20, or even at $30. And we can extract the supply schedule and supply curve like as we learned in the law of demand. Supply curves are upsloping because supply increases as price increases. We can check in this graph. When the price increased, then the quantity was produced also increased. Then why the law of supply establishes? The first reason is that firms can make greater profits. because it is kind of opportunity for them to supply greater quantities, and it is a motivation for them because they can earn more profits from selling one more units. And second one is substitution effect. And it's similar to the concept in demand. Because of the number one, the firms tend to increase production of the goods with higher prices that will give them more profit instead of those with low prices. Then what will be the determinants for the shift of supply curve? To be reminded, the quantity of supply is only changed by the changing price. So the first factor of supply curve itself is amount and cost of resources. For example, recent Ukraine war actually led to increase in fuel and grain prices, and like it will give more burden to first production, therefore supply decreases. And advance in technology facilitates mass production and therefore supply increases, the and the curve will shift to light. Taxes and subsidies are government interventions and they also affect the supply. Taxes increases the production cost and will be burden for firms, so therefore it curve will shift to left. However, subsidy will promote more quantity produced, therefore the curve will move to right. The first one is number of sellers. It's literally saying if there are more sellers, then supply will increase, and if there are less sellers, then supply will decrease. We may also look at future expectations. You also should not be confused at here too. And if the news says that the price will go up in near future, it means that the sellers, then the current supply decreases because they can get more profit when they wait and sell in near future, and vice versa. Then we have understood about what is law of demand and law of supply. Then let's find the market equilibrium. Market equilibrium happens at the intersection of demand curve and supply curve. This one is demand curve and this one is supply curve. So market equilibrium is where two curves intersect. And in this point, there are no more surplus or excess supplies because demand and supplies is equal. Therefore, it is also called as market clearing because, like we can see, the situation is very clear. However, there are sometimes a market disequilibrium where equilibrium is collapsed by two types. First one is surplus, where supplied quantity outweighs the demanded quantities. This figure reflects the market surplus. So this is amount of surplus. So like firms produced about this amount, but only demand was about this. So there were many stockpilings. And second figure is about the market shortage. The firms only supplied about this amount, but demand was much greater than the production of firms. Like we can see in Pokemon bread or like honey butter cookies that was once very famous throughout the nation, right? But this is very contemporary situation and this does not go to the long run thanks to the invisible hand that was discovered by Adam Smith. Therefore, market naturally goes back to the equilibrium. To be more specific, if there is a surplus, then firms will reduce the price until the demand increases. Therefore, the price decreases and demand increases. Therefore, will restore the equilibrium. This is establishes same and market shortage too. So like there is kind of competition to low price or increase price, and we call that bidding up price. Then lastly, we have to analyze the market equilibrium. Why people say the market equilibrium is so efficient? First, it is because marginal benefit equals to marginal cost. When we draw out a reverse function of supply and demand curve, it is almost the same. We say the demand curve marginal benefit, and we say the reverse supply marginal cost. Marginal benefit, as said earlier, the benefit you gain from buying one more extra unit, and marginal cost is cost needed for producing one more extra unit, and it exactly equals with each other. Yes, this point is very important. Therefore, the people with more desire and more money can buy the exact quantity that he or she wants. Therefore, it achieves the allocative efficiency because it distributes the scarce and limited resources in the most efficient way, fully utilizing the society's potentials and remaining resources. But you should not be confused with productive efficiency, which will be covered in market structures. And third, social surplus is maximized at this point. This triangle is the areas of social surplus, and this will be specified at next lecture. So we will just keep in mind that the social surplus is the biggest at market equilibrium. Therefore, this is the reason why the efficiency is maximized at the market equilibrium. So let's go over the review questions. And due to time limits, I will directly go to answer sessions. So this is not violation of law of demand. It seems like because price and demand both increased, we can simply think it might be a violation of law of demand. However, we should bring the concept of shift of demand. In summer, like this is demand curve and this is supply curve, this is quantity and this is price. In summer, the preferences on swimming suits rise, therefore demand curve itself shifts to right. Then the market equilibrium moves to this new one. Then let's see what happens to equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium quantity has increased and coincidentally in the equilibrium price has also increased. Therefore, of course, the price of swimsuits may rise. It is also possible that the amount of purchased swimsuits can also rise. Because this is shift of curve, not movement along the curve. This is the last review question. And the answer is, let's find out by drawing the graphs. Demand as supply, quantity, and price. And For response questions of AP exam, you will be asked to draw actual graphs like this, and this kind of question will be frequently asked in especially multiple choice questions. So the export of barley, which is the resource for production, was obstructed due to the war. Therefore, supply goes to left. But scientists found that barley bread is great at preventing house cancers, which means that consumers' preference will also increase. Therefore, demand increases and shifts to right. So the original equilibrium was this point, and the new equilibrium moved to this one, right? This might seem ambiguous, but the obvious thing is that equilibrium price increased, but we don't know how exactly the quantity moved, right? Because this is too vague and this is almost vertical. So we say that equilibrium quantity is indeterminate, as we covered earlier. And like you may mark equilibrium price and quantity in P star and Q star in short forms. So this is an prepared lecture, and if it was helpful, please don't forget to press like button and subscribe our WATS channel. Thank you so much for listening.